listening to a Bored to Death Mandocast, talking all things Star Wars in easily digestible chunks.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and other assorted gender assignations. Welcome back to the Bored to Death Mandocast. I am Jay, being joined by
Z
and
Chris.
And we are back for episode 3 of Star Wars The Bad Batch.
Every time we start doing a Star Wars cast, I sit there going, oh god, it's another hour. And I look at the thing like, oh wait, it's only 22 minutes.
Right.
27.
Because you are still used to like Mandalorian, where the episodes are, in that time frame, and episode 1 of The Bad Batch, which was admittedly an hour and 15 minutes long.
And it's 22 minutes so because there's like 5 minutes of credits because you got to do the normal credits, so you have to do the other language credits, and you have to do the other language credits.
Yeah.
22 minutes.
At any rate, last time on Bad Batch, they visited Seleucami, where we were reintroduced to Cut LaQuain, a clone trooper that deserted, got married, and had a couple kids.
Or like half clones each.
Yes, well...
Wouldn't it be quarter clones?
No. Because he is a clone, and his wife is a Twi'lek. So the kids are half Twi'lek, half clone.
I feel like there should be a joke where a mother and a clone love each other so much.
I'm not going to try to explain the birds and the bees on the Mandocast, because just no.
No, bat.
And present also in the room is a cat from Shadowcat Cosplay who is playing with the Bingecasts.
They probably don't hear the bells.
Well, just sort of explaining just in case they hear
That.
something like that. Yes. But in the last episode, we got to see some of the Empire setting things in motion for their tyrannical rule over the galaxy, beginning with chain codes. What to us would basically be, and the Bingecat is still trying to eat Shadowcat's hands. Anyway,
It's better than her feet.
chain codes are what would basically be like Social Security things here for us.
Speaking of which, did you ever look at the back of your Social Security card?
No.
It literally says, because I found this out after I replaced my Social Security card, we have the authority to take this away from you.
Mm-hmm.
I have never known that. I thought Social Security cards were permanent.
Nope.
But in the
They put the code on them. Do they have the ability to take it back from them?
well, it gives them the ability to track them, because chain codes are what are being used in the time period of the Mandalorian for the bounty pucks.
So the pet chips.
Basically.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like the chain code takes a sample of your DNA.
Interesting.
And but that is then used to track all this sort of stuff. And they were making it more or less compulsory by saying Republic credits no longer valid, but Imperial, but you can trade your Republic credits for Imperial credits, full value. All you have to do is sign up for a chain code.
Oh,
and
God.
Since people would like to be able to engage in commerce, they kind of have to go along with this.
I want someone to transmit the code, like the value ratios. Like when you go to China, it's like, here's $1, and this is how much money you have. I want to see someone do that. And
I'm sure some Star Wars nerd somewhere has figured out the exchange rate between the various currencies in the galaxy. Not him, not the Welk of Knowledge. He is not that kind of nerd.
No.
But there are really ridiculously nerdy Star Wars nerds out there who have probably done the math.
I mean, it's kind of like in Star Trek. Technically, on Earth, they don't use currency anymore. But let's say if you're on, Deep Space Nine, they actually apparently, if you don't really see, but apparently there is an ATM in Quark's bar, where you can get Federation credits or Ferengi Gold Press Platinum bars. Because apparently that's the only kind of currency that Ferengis use.
When we were talking about the types of nerds,
and I mentioned math.
No, math wasn't the problem. It's a type of nerds. I had a very awkward conversation with two Star Wars fans behind me, and it was not good.
No.
No.
The really nerdy Star Wars nerds are insufferable.
I don't want to have to relive those.
Oh, the only good ones is the original trilogy. Everything else is trash.
No, I don't mind those people. When you get in the the Crosshair story in the short version stories, is it gay to have sex for clone? I'm like, what the hell am I listening to?
Anyway,
and you wonder why I went away to tail sometimes.
Yeah.
Is it gay or is it masturbation?
Yes.
That was what the conversation with Peggy was. It's the sad part.
At any rate.
And here's the Bad Batch replacements.
Yes.
Oh God, no! That can be taken so long.
Oh God. Anyway. Also in the last episode, Hunter basically discovered he has paternal instincts.
Yeah.
They're struggling a little bit because he's still more used to being soldier rather than being father.
I mean, that's kind of like in Major Payne, where he does essentially adopts Tiger by the end of the film. But early on in the film, he's like, "What? You expect me to get married to you? Adopt Tiger? Get the white picket fence? That ain't me. That ain't Payne."
And Omega, she had a whole bunch of firsts in her life. First time being off Camino. First time seeing sunlight. First time experiencing dirt.
It's like it was almost like the dry version of that scene from Waterworld where Kevin Costner brings what's her face all the way down to the bottom and grabs a handful of the freaking dirt and just drops it right.
It's just sort of like, this is where the dry land that I find comes from.
I just have to dry it out first.
Yep.
By the way, I didn't read the reason why, but apparently this is a dark episode.
Well, we are entering into the time period where the Empire is establishing its control over the galaxy. That's gonna be a dark time period.
Yep. See, I wonder.
Last episode might have been a bit lighter in tone, with the Bad Batch interacting with Cut and his family, and and Cut's kids being like Uncle Wrecker.
You're gonna have your now it's gonna be
yeah. It's like first it's all ooh and and then there's the running and the screaming.
It's like when I was describing Supernatural to somebody because they thought it was just pure horror. I'm like, no, you have your comedic episodes, you have your sad episodes, and you have your scary episodes. It's a well-balanced show.
Mm-hmm.
So for this, yeah, I could see them doing like your dark episodes where it's like got like a really dark story to it. Then you have like your more like lighthearted episodes like Cut and Run was, with the whole family theme going for it, and then
and Omega just being adorable, like when Tech and Echo when Tech decides to call in their ship to get impounded, and then Hunter's like, Omega's on the ship, and they look up and it's like, I think it's a good plan, Tech.
Tech.
But this episode is called Replacements. And the description says the Batch gets stuck on a desolate moon.
I've seen this movie. It's about football.
No.
Oh.
Starship Troopers?
No. I'm thinking, desolate moon. We remember what happened to Mando when he got stuck on a desolate moon.
Yeah, there were spiders.
Yeah.
Big, icy space spiders.
What is it with movies and space and spiders?
Name one scary thing that's on this planet right now that no matter what country you're from, you're going.
No matter what country, no matter what culture, there is a primal sort of fear attached to
cockroaches.
Cockroaches I can deal with. It's when it's got 8 legs and fangs is that I have an issue with it.
But you gotta keep in mind, the cockroach
Don't go to
survived.
Australia.
No shit.
The cockroach survived a nuclear microwave. The spider does not.
Actually, cockroaches won't probably survive that much in a high radiation environment. Mythbusters tested it.
There was a lot of people that say they put
it was crickets actually. I think that lasted longer than cockroaches.
Well, you know that a cockroach can also live for like several days without its head.
That's because they have a decentralized nerve system.
Yeah.
A lot of insects are that way.
Spider crickets.
No.
Camel spiders.
What the fuck's a camel spider?
Oh God, you haven't seen those?
Hold on a second, I gotta Google this.
Australia.
They're not from Australia. They're in the Middle East.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, in South America, you have those spiders that are the size of a trash can lid.
The huntsman, yeah.
Huntsman spiders are harmless, though. That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
But then again, they're just
Then
giant-
again, they're big. And she's like, no.
Well, they're also...
Eight-legged freak? No.
Oh my god, what have we done? But yeah, because I'm thinking about it. I also think of another movie where spiders were a major thing.
Eight-legged freaks.
No, space.
Starship Troopers.
Lost in Space.
Oh, yeah, those.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I want to be Iron Man. Oh god, spiders. 111.
Well,
That was
this
the best
this
scene.
picture is actually just two camel spiders sort of locked together, but you can see it for scale.
Damn.
Yep,
I've seen them.
Yep, this picture. Yeah, if you know what a camel spider is, you've probably seen the picture.
This is why I let the spiders stay alive, because the spiders killed the other things.
This is how I usually approach spiders also. It's like, I don't have problems with spiders hanging around like the threshold of doors or windows and stuff. When they start moving into the rest of the space, then I'm like, no. You've got your space, you stay there.
I catch them in a cup, and then I sneak them outside.
And I'm kind of this, but I generally prefer to leave them alone. My mom's not the same way. There was a time when I was, still living at home, and I went to take the dog out, and as I'm coming back in, I happened to glance into the little space between the garage doors, and there's a black widow, with the little red hourglass on its back, just chilling there in its little web. And I come inside and I comment on it to my mom. She's like, "Did you kill it?" I'm like, "No, it's not bothering me. It's killing the bugs, so I'm gonna leave it alone." My mom's like, "No, go kill it." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna go kill it." She's like, "Well, show me where it is."
No.
So I did, and then she killed it because she was like, "They're poisonous and they're venomous. I don't want them in the house." And I'm like, "It's in the garage. It's killing the other bugs."
It's a poison type.
Isn't it like the Daddy Longlegs is the most poisonous spider in the
Yes.
world?
No,
but-
actually, daddy longlegs are not arachnids.
Yeah.
If you count their legs, they
Oh my
only have
God.
6 legs.
Okay.
And
Well,
not only that, but like even if
Yeah.
they were to like try to bite you,
their
mandibles
fangs are too
Yeah, that's
small,
why I
are
know
too
about that.
small to penetrate.
I knew
the
about
skin.
that.
Yeah.
But really, to your comment, when Jupiter, Pluto is still a planet.
It's a dwarf
We're not gonna.
planet.
Yeah, we're not.
That's pretty much the same thing.
It's not technically, but I'm not going to get into the whole argument about this sort of thing. I have opinions about it that I don't necessarily agree with the whole dwarf planet thing either. But I'm just like, I'm going to leave it be. And the spiders thing.
I think I can already see which part is going to get deleted.
What are you talking about? It's not going to be an awkward moment. And we're back to the show.
No, we're not going to do anything like that. So, but Bad Batch episode 3. So let's get into it.
Engage.
Yes. So we'll be back after the
Aye,
episode.
I was waiting for him to say no on that one.
Let's go.
Hey, while we're watching this episode, you should go ahead and toss us a like and subscribe. If you want to reach out, do it via our social media on Facebook or Twitter at BTD_Bingecast. The Bored to Death Clan is part of the CKCC Radio podcast tribe, including Jay Bunny's Music Hub, the Race Nerd Podcast, Real Paranormal Talk, Ranking Tracks, Motivational Moves, Park Hopper 101, and The Nerd Table. Imperial credits may not be worth much, but remember to support CKCC Radio on Patreon. I have spoken.
And we're back. So, definitely had some dark themes.
This is Force approved. It has dark and light.
Just
Yeah.
stop it.
It had a really light ending.
Yes. But furthering the whole Empire is getting started thing, and the Empire is going to be worse than the Republic. So the Bad Batch, their ship's damaged. It took some hits during their escape in the previous episode, and Tech kind of jinxes them when he comments. It's just like nothing vital was damaged, and then immediately they get knocked out of hyperspace and start crashing. And once they've landed, he's just like, life support system, nothing else vital has been affected, and then it's like the lights suddenly shut out. Well, no, that happened later, but
Yes.
it was the same basic idea. It's like
It's-
Tech,
it's-
stop talking.
It's like all the stereotypes you see in horror movies that take place in space
Mhm.
happen in this episode.
Is that point when they're crashing and they're like, I can't steer. It's like that's what it's like when you lose power control.
Mhm.
It sucks.
When power steering cuts out, yeah, that's not good. And it opened, but before everything started going wrong for them, you just saw Omega just leaning up against the Gonk droid, which is still
The
on its
weightlifting.
side, while just impotently kicking its legs. She's just sort of playing on her iPad or whatever.
Space iPad.
And it's mentioned that and Hunter comments to Wrecker, it's just sort of like she doesn't even have a place to sleep on this ship.
Well, because she's offering his food to him.
Well, yeah, that's right, because Hunter comes around with rations for everybody, and he gives a stick of rations to Omega, and then he gives one to Wrecker, who just scarfs it down immediately and looks for more. Omega's like offering it to her, and that's when Hunter's like, she doesn't even have a bed to sleep in, and you're going to take her food too? And he's like, oh, yeah. No, I'm good. You can keep it. But then they crash on a planet that looks like it could either have been the planet from Alien or Aliens, or the planet from Pitch Black.
But this was kind of pitch black.
Yeah. And I was like,
They landed on Pluto. Let's just say they landed on Pluto.
sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
To bring it back to our conversation.
There's no sun nearby. There's no light, so it's pretty much just a rock.
It has an atmosphere you can't breathe because they have to put the little rebreathers on
On the way down to the crash lane, Wrecker hit his head.
or something. We don't know exactly what was going on
No, he
there.
hit his head.
Well, yeah, but he was also clutching the side of his head where his chip is.
Yeah, but he still hit his head on the way down.
Fair.
Well, so if he starts saying "good soldiers always follow orders," that's when we need to get worried.
Yep. But so Echo and Tech go outside to fix the capacitor or something that got damaged in their escape, and they only have the one replacement part.
What's
What's
that?
that?
Not point of the story. When she goes, "Oh, is this the piece that we're missing?" and drops the thing,
And
and
then
they
they
all
were
look
like,
at her. Like,
That was Crosshair's gear.
and then that's where they're one of the twin points for the story, where it gives you a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
They're feeling the loss of their comrade.
And there's the sort of implication that there could be a redemption arc for him.
Good then.
However, we must remember this is Star Wars. And in Star Wars, previously, when we've had a character go through a redemption arc, what usually happens to them?
They die.
Yes.
I only know of one.
Vader.
Yep.
There was also Kylo Ren. Towards the end of Rise of Skywalker, he redeems. He turns back to the light side,
Yeah, I don't think I
and
made
then he
that far.
dies.
I don't think I made it that far. So
You didn't.
Well, okay.
Spoiler.
Oh well, spoilers.
Well, we don't really.
We're spoiling the worst movie of the sequel trilogy for you. It's okay.
I thought that was the third movie.
That's what
Where he,
I said. The
where
sequel trilogy.
I have the high ground, Anakin.
You're thinking of the prequel trilogy.
They're all train wreck at that point in time.
Yes.
I don't know. Episode 3 was, I still say, was the best one of the prequel trilogy.
Yes, but that's not a high bar to clear.
No, but it did. But it was also the first PG-13 Star Wars film.
Fair.
What?
Episode 3 was the first PG-13 Star Wars film. All the other ones were PG.
Did not know that.
At any rate, and so while Echo and Tech are outside, Echo starts hearing something skithering about in the darkness, and evidently there's no like horror movies or anything like that in the Star Wars universe because he doesn't recognize the trope.
I have to tame.
Sorry, we're getting distracted by Shadow Cat deciding to be a cat.
I'm trying to make it so she stays quiet. Where's the spray ball? That's what we spray her.
I got the hose. Oh wait, the basement's already been flooded.
Yeah, let's not do that again, please. Speaking of cats, looks like Bingecat has taken up position underneath your seat there again.
Yeah,
Chris.
I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
But this creature, and they mentioned what it is, some sort of quote unquote dragon of some kind that feeds on energy, steals the capacitor and runs off with it. And so then that's when sort of kicks off the rest of the episode as they Hunter and the others go out to try to track it down. They tell Wrecker stay on the ship because he's
got a headache.
He's got a headache.
Reasons we hope it was.
And Omega's just sort of like, I'm part of the squad too. Let me go with you. So they kind of have to. And there was also the B plot of the episode happening on Camino.
Oh, that was the dark part of the plot.
Oh, yes. Well, where there's a light side, there's also a dark side.
Like duct tape.
Yes, but duct tape fixes everything.
The Empire, well, technically the Empire is trying to fix things that they see as broken, even if the things aren't, as we would understand it.
Yes, yes, like the clones, which they consider obsolete.
And we're introduced to an Admiral Rampart, who is the one who sort of kicked off the Chain Code project. And he is also advocating for conscription soldiers. And so he introduces like an elite squad that is going to be commanded by Crosshair. And their first mission is to go back to Onderon and finish the mission from the first episode of Bad Batch and take out Saw Gerrera. And one of the conscripts, he comes across immediately like a bit of a jerk. He swats away the medical droid. He's like, I didn't come here to get...
I didn't sign up to be examined, poked, and prodded like a science experiment. I came here to get paid.
Yep, and well, as he puts it, I get paid, I get fed, and I get a roof over my head, which is more than the Republic ever did for me.
Yep.
Which is, that's just kind of down with the, but at least the trains ran on time thing. Which, as it happens, wasn't true. But,
I feel like most of your jokes are going to fly over my head today.
It was a saying that was said about, it wasn't actually Nazi Germany, but it was about like fascist Italy. Same time period as Nazi Germany, that in fascist Italy they made sure the trains ran on time. It's like, they did all these terrible things, but they at least did this.
I feel like with the Bad Batch, is always going to be a history lesson for me for some reason.
See, it's kind of like in North Korea. Yeah, sure, it's under a regime and everything, but it's also a really clean country.
Yes, because littering is punishable by death.
And I think in Japan, littering is punishable by being put on the news and shamed.
Well,
isn't that death in Japan?
No.
I mean, it's a social death.
It's embarrassment.
And, saving face is very important in Japanese culture.
So probably death.
Social death, not physical death. At any rate, we see these conscript soldiers go back to Onderon as we once again see these refugees that Saw Gerrera had been helping. As it turns out, Saw Gerrera and some has already left at this point, but the conscripts and Crosshair show up and just kill all the soldiers. One of them tries to take off in the shuttle, and he's gotten the shuttle like off the ground when Crosshair snipes him in the cockpit through the window.
That was a great shot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's Crosshair. He is a ridiculously good shot. We remember the knife trick from the first episode.
Yeah.
Yes, that was awesome.
It was awesome.
But now he's essentially the dead shot of Star Wars.
Yeah. And
oh God, the Bad Batch is the Suicide Squad.
It took you this long to realize that?
But afterwards, the one remaining soldier, steps out of the shuttle, tosses aside their weapon, has their hands up, and Crosshair goes up to them and asks, where's Saw Gerrera? And she goes, I don't know. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell. And she doesn't even finish the sentence before he shoots her dead.
No, I think she did.
Well, it's like as soon as she was done talking,
as soon as the period happened, he made his own period.
She got to the last full stop, and it was the last full stop.
I love the line that I believe you.
Yeah, it's like immediately after shooting him.
I believe you.
I'm sorry, but like anytime a character says that, all I can think of is Batman and Batman versus Superman. We shot the dude with the flamethrower. Don't do it. I'll kill her. I believe you. Bam.
And well, then he asks the civilians, just like they were just sort of being like, we're not with them. That we were just trying to get off world. And he's like, then you have no place in the Empire. And he turns to his new squad, and is just like, orders them to kill them. And the guy who had been mouthing off to him all this time, including on the trip over, he was just like, why are we taking orders from a clone? Sort of thing, being a jerk, being a dick about it. And I'm just like, you are just asking to get killed.
And then he goes, the reason why they chose me to be the leader of this squad? Because I do what's necessary.
Yeah. And because this guy is just sort of like, we signed up to be soldiers, not an execution squad. And he's like, we're not gonna kill them. And that's when he explains, like, that's why I was put in charge of the squad, because I'll do what's necessary. And then he kills the guy and says, good soldiers follow orders. And he basically tells the rest of the squad to do it. And so they open up. One of them with a flamethrower, the other's just shooting them with their lasers.
Which, at my point in time, I sat there and said, isn't that a little bit overkill? You're burning them to death, and let's put a bullet in their brain just in case.
Well, it's not so much overkill as cruel. Burning alive is a horrible way to die.
Yes.
Yes.
If anything, shooting them is the merciful option.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like when Spoonie was pointing out
Overkill would have been like shooting them repeatedly and then setting fire to the remains. That's overkill.
But it's kind of so like what the Stormtroopers probably did in Episode 4.
Yes.
Uncle Owen on Peru.
Oh God.
But it's kind of like that scene in Alien Resurrection where Ripley comes across all the failed Ripley clones, which
Yeah.
the door may as well have just read H.R. Geiger's House of Horrors. And she walks in there and she sees the one that is like sentient is actually able to talk and is just sitting there going, kill me. Now, I'm sure that when it said kill me, she meant put a bullet in my head. She lights the entire room on fire.
Well,
and
but you'll
death.
see that failed clone when Ripley takes the flamethrower and flicks on the pilot light. You see that failed clone just nod, just like, yep, do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if I were to ever say the words "kill me," shoot me in the head.
Yes.
Just shoot me in the freaking head.
But Johnner did kind of have a point after all that. When she left the room, it's like, it was a waste of fuel.
If you ever say "kill me," I'm not shooting you in the head. I'm gassing you.
Well, it's like what Spoonie pointed out when he
Don't be cruel, man. Quick and painless. Jeez.
It's like what Spoonie pointed out in terms of that movie because of the way Ron Perlman looked. Well, because of the way Ron Perlman looks in general, because he looks like
a thug.
No, he looks like a caveman essentially.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why his first role was a caveman. Where he has this, Spoonie's like, Ron Perlman has this confused look on his face, like, why angry lady waste ammo?
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, he did kind of have a point. You could have accomplished the same thing with just a few bullets instead of just whoosh, fire, burn
the whole room,
purge the unclean.
I mean, it's kind of like I'm sure overkill in this case would have been like as if the troopers were taking off, and then they just decided to launch a missile onto the site.
So what we do when we see Spyros?
Burn the house down.
Yeah, same thing.
No. Take off and nuke the site from orbit.
Yeah,
it's the only way to be sure. As long as we're talking alien references here. And after they return back to Camino, Tarkin is pleased with the whole thing, and he leaves the whole conscript soldiers and under clone directorship thing under Admiral Rampart.
See, at that point in time, I really don't care about plot B at this point in time. Because I know the ending result. Because I remember stuff correctly. Because like I said, I watched a little bit of the movies. Didn't the clone base get kind of destroyed?
Pretty much.
Kamino is, I think, the site of some battle at some point that's effectively ends the clone project, but it wasn't in any of the movies.
Well, this isn't.
They do visit Kamino in episode 2 in Attack of the Clones, but there's no we don't see any battle on Kamino.
Huh.
Well, I know it's not canon anymore. But
Yay, Disney.
Huh?
Yay, Disney.
Yeah. But for Force Unleashed 2, the Starkiller clone was made on Kamino because you escaped from Kamino.
Okay.
Because we know the ending result for the clones is
They're
replaced.
Yeah, they're replaced.
replaced. So like we have a beginning and an end. I don't care about the middle. Go back to the Bad Batch. I mean, yes, give me the story with
Crosshair.
Crosshair. Yeah, give me that story. I don't care about General so and so may not like us. Let's do this instead.
Oh, with the Kaminoans plotting to try to keep themselves relevant.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Plot C can go away.
It feels like Plot C is going to explain what the deal is with Omega at some point.
Valid point.
Because
we don't really know anything about her.
Because we see the Prime Minister and Nala Se after all this talking, expressing their concerns about the fact that they are going to lose their contract and thus money, that's going to affect their economy. If they're no longer commissioned to make clones for the Empire, and so they are discussing continuing to produce the enhanced clones, but they're like, but we only need a sample from one of them, because they also mentioned that Jango Fett's genetic code is starting to degrade, so they're not going to be able to keep producing the standard clones anymore.
Just have this image of a clone.
Hi, my name's Jango.
Yeah.
My name's Jeff.
I mean, they kind of had that hunchback janitor clone in Clone Wars.
The original Clone 99.
Yeah.
The one that gave the Bad Batch their squad number.
Nice.
But yeah, while we think that would be funny to see, at the same time it would be kind of cruel.
Oh, they're never going to show something like that. That's just going to be so much fire on that one.
Oh yeah.
You know what I want to see now?
What?
I want to see the Bad Batch as they were growing up. Just because I want to see what Wrecker was like as a kid. I don't want to do homework. I just want to shoot stuff.
I want to blow something up.
The best thing about TV shows, if they last long enough, eventually they'll get to a time skipping episode.
Bad Batch babies. It's like Muppet Babies, but with more explosions.
Yes. So directed by Michael Bay?
What?
Directed by Michael Bay?
No, he's the one who executive producer and provides the special effects.
Okay, I'll go
There
with
you
that
go.
Explosions.
This episode of Bad Batch is brought to you by Tor.
God damn it.
I have one question for you. Explosions?
Robot Chicken?
No,
Borderlands.
Oh.
But at any rate, and we also then see that Crosshair's new squad are basically moving into the Bad Batch's old quarters.
Which is now, it looks like the Bad Batch literally just picked everything up, moved out. And
Well, it's not so much that they packed up everything and moved out, as everything was packed up and moved out for them.
I wonder if that ship...
So you guys are being evicted. You have now to get out.
Yeah.
Because when he sits in the bed, I wonder if that chip's kind of like taking a toll on his brain. Because like when people sit there like, my body was being taken control of. I had every reaction, like I could see a reaction, hear a reaction, but it wasn't me.
Like they were just like a passenger in their own body.
Yeah.
So it's
You're wondering if that's the case with Crosshair?
Yeah, especially when he sits down and he looks.
Yeah, you see him looking around the room as his new squad are all taking their new bunks and everything. He passes by the wall where Wrecker had been carving like hash marks to note the number of successful operations they'd been on. And then he just moves over to his bed, sets his helmet down, and just sits there.
So it's like either A, he's waiting for orders, or B, his brain is slowly tweaking back because they were doing more tests on him.
We did see at the beginning of his part of the episode that
they keep pulling that Winter Soldier shit on him,
mm-hmm.
but minus the mind wipe part.
Yep.
That's why this is why you gotta be crazy. If you're crazy and you're doing this kind of stuff, reprogram a person, always waste memory banks. Because if you don't waste memory banks, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass.
Who's Bucky?
Except it didn't really work on Bucky, the mind wipes, because his memories were still there. And as he pointed out in Falcon and Winter Soldier, he remembered every person that he killed.
Hey, you go back and watch our episodes about that one.
Yes, go back and watch a Marvelcast.
No, he pointed that out in Civil War where Tony asked.
Yeah, that was the first time, but we got more details on it in Falcon and Winter Soldier with his little book of all the amends that he had to.
That was a lot of amends.
Yep.
Or if he had to go apologize to the Kennedy family.
Oh! God damn it! God damn it, Wellick.
We apologize for our friend.
No, we don't.
No, sure we don't.
Cut him loose, throw him under the bus.
Hey, guys, my bad.
But back on the desolate moon, Hunter and Omega, eventually find the capacitor just sort of left there between a couple of stone outcroppings or whatever. And as soon as it's just sat there, I'm like, looks like a trap. I wouldn't go for it.
It's a trap.
That's the most famous line from any Star Wars franchise.
Movie.
Yes.
Franchise.
Star Wars is a franchise.
I'm saying, from any of the franchises.
Can
you name anything more famous than it's a trap and anything else that Star Wars has done?
No, Luke, I am your father.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, okay.
Use the Force, Luke.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think It's a Trap is more famous than
This is true. But Luke, I am your father.
Okay, I'll give him that one.
It's like of course from Street Fighter.
Of course.
I thought that was you again.
No, we're talking
about the movie.
Oh, okay.
With Raul Julia.
The only good live action Street Fighter movie, the Chun-Li one, was trash.
Oh God,
I
it was.
miss that actor so much.
Raul Julia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, and sure enough, when Hunter goes for the capacitor, the little dragon thing jumps out, attacks him, knocks his mask off, and picks up the capacitor and scurries off into its hole.
Well, did we mention the fact that he was tracking him, and when he was tracking him, Omega was like, "Hey, can you teach me how to track?"
And he's like, "This is kind of stuff that was just programmed into me with same as Wrecker and Tech." And she then goes, "And Crosshair?" And he's like, "There's like a pause, and he just sort of nods, but it's just sort of like, ooh, you just sort of." He's not. The wound isn't even getting a chance to scab. She's just ripping it off.
No, you're gonna keep bleeding until I say you're done.
I like this part. So I'm mentioning this part because yes, the wound's getting ripped over constantly, but at the same time, she's trying to bring hope to him.
Yeah,
because she's like, it wasn't him; it was the chip.
That's true. That was something else we forgot to mention.
And the fact that while they're walking, it's like maybe we can bring him back.
I mean, Ahsoka kind of realized that in the last season of Clone Wars, where she realized it's not them,
it's this chip.
But that's the reason why she went and basically did what she did to Rex too.
Well, Rex also knew what was happening to him and gave her the clue she needed to figure it out when he was like, "Fives, find fives," right before the programming took full hold of him.
And then on top of that, it also shows how much of a leader he is, because he's not mad at Crosshair for the actions that he did. He's mad at himself because he abandoned Crosshair.
He's like, we don't leave our own behind.
Yes.
So at some point in time, they probably are going to try and find some way to, like what you said, do the whole redemption arc.
Well, I'll give you that hint. The fact that he's making a scanner for the
chip. Tech is working on a scanner to try to locate the chips and do a scan of it to figure out how it's working or if it's working.
You know for a fact it's going to affect someone. And it's going to make them go back to being a good soldier. And then they're like, wait, we program.
Well, yeah, it's possible they could do it to Wrecker, but if anything, I would save Wrecker for last because you're going to need all hands on deck to make sure that he doesn't start thrashing around and throwing people around the ship.
It's probably going to be
Hunter's going to be the first one. It's going to be Hunter because Tech is going to be the one actually operating the thing to make sure that it works.
And what's his name is more robot than anything else, so it wouldn't affect him.
Yeah. As they mentioned, in the case of all the Bad Batch, the mutations in their brain from how they were enhanced is why the chips aren't functioning the way they should. And in the case of Echo, you're more machine now than man. And,
That was a direct reference to
yes.
Obi-Wan.
Yep. And well, at any rate, back to plot. Hunter gets, the mask gets knocked off, and he starts choking. He passes out just before Omega is able to put the mask back on his face. So he survives, but is unconscious. And then she just basically looks up at the little hole where the dragon had disappeared, and was like, "Okay." Picks up the flashlight, picks up Hunter's gun, and goes into the hole to go track it down. And I'm just like, this is a bad idea. I was waiting for Tech and Echo to show up.
Well, she did with Paige, like, help us! Help us! And then she's like, I must man up and do this myself.
This woman's razor doesn't work.
But when she gets in there and she finds the thing's lair, it's like all, getting annoyed because she keeps shining a flashlight in its eyes.
I would get annoyed too if you shine a flashlight in my eyes in the dark.
I was waiting for this one because I was waiting for you to go with your force sensitive thing again.
Well, yeah.
You know what? I kept thinking that it was going to be like the spiders in Rebels, where Kanan was essentially using the Force to essentially communicate with the spiders to say, I'm not a threat, and then they just backed away from him. Because he just walked right into their freaking lair, and they just were just like he would just keep walking, and they would just walked around him.
Yep. I was expecting something like that, and if anything, it was more just her, sort of empathy, if you will, because she does have something like that.
She's very smart.
There's that also, but when she realized the thing was shrieking at her because of the flashlight, she clicked it off, and then it finally sort of calmed down and just sort of turned away. And she then is looking around trying to find the capacitor, but it's basically just sort of still sucking on it. And then she was like, wait, you can see it's like in her head. She wasn't like vocalizing any of it, but it was like in her head. She looked at her flashlight and was like, it feeds on energy. So she clicks it on, shines it at it, but like back and forth, like across. Yeah. And so it's like following it. And then she just tosses it to one side of its cave. It goes over and starts like gnawing on it,
which looks so cool
because as it's like sucking on the energy, it's like sending this little like ripple of light down its body, and she then picks up
luminescence.
Yep, picks up the capacitor, heads back out of the cave.
Because at that point in time, Hunter has woken up and is now screaming, "Omega! Omega!
Dead instincts!" And she climbs up out of the hole. She's like, "I'm here. Sorry I took your gun, but I didn't need to use it." She like hands it back over. I've got the part.
I did the mission.
And so they get back to the ship. Ship's now starting to function again. They're able to take off. And then Wrecker reveals what he was up to while they were away. He basically made a little bedroom for Omega, and even gave her his Lula.
Yes.
His little like teddy bear bunny thing.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm. And she's just sort of sat up there happily cuddling the thing, like, I finally have a bedroom.
I finally have my own room.
Yes, my own room
with a view.
Yep. So we got a nice little heartwarming bit to end what was an episode that had just gone down a dark path with Crosshair and the conscripts.
It sounded like they were using like the same like dark tone music that was used for the last few episodes of Clone Wars.
Yeah. Well, but if you think about it, that makes sense, because the last few episodes of Clone Wars, at least, especially the last like episode when Order 66 was executed.
Even before that, like when they were getting up to where Maul was.
Mm-hmm. They've always done very well with the leitmotifs and everything by which I mean the music in the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, but for the Star Wars movies, they're a lot more like lighter tone, more exciting. Whereas for Clone Wars, it started off exciting, but then as it got closer and closer to the last few episodes, it got darker.
Well, it's because we as the audience, especially those of us that had been following the Star Wars timeline enough, knew where things were going.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in a dark period of the timeline right now. You know, the Empire is ascendant. You know, Palpatine has won.
I'm scarred. Do not look in my face. I will put
This
a hood over
attack
it.
has left me scarred.
The
I will
attack
put the
by
hood
the
over.
Jedi has left me scarred and deformed, but my resolve has never been greater.
Which, don't look at my face. I will put a hood over my face.
So you don't see my eyes, except you do because they glow yellow.
Yes, there's nothing. If it glows yellow, we should be friends.
Well, yeah, Anakin's glowed yellow.
So he's
That's-
blue red.
No, his
It was yellow, but it was like red rimmed.
Mm.
I mean, you could pull up episode 3 on here on Disney Plus because you were scrolling through looking at the ratings on all.
I was.
He
Yes, I
didn't
was.
believe me. He did not believe me when I said that.
I'm like, wow, really? No, he's just messing with me.
But if you pull up the episode 3,
This way.
which Revenge of the Sith. There you
Oh, I
go.
like how they actually have the
Pull,
movies in
no,
chronological
click on it
order.
and pull it up. There you go.
Mm.
There's a
Almost-
shot of Darkside Anakin.
It's what I call Armageddon eyes. Looks like fire.
Mm-hmm. That's a definite sign of like dark side influence.
I feel bad for the dude at the end of that table.
You know he's about to die.
He's like, how dare you? Why did you look at the camera? Ah, shit, I'm next, ain't I?
I think that's actually a composite picture. I don't know if that's necessarily in the same scene together, but whatever. It's
But again, okay, he has a cape. He has a hood. So if you're a Sith, you must have a hood as a
well,
requirement.
the Jedi wear hooded robes too.
No, I thought they.
No, they do.
Okay.
I mean, we could queue up the first episode of Bad Batch and watch the part before Order 66 goes down.
God, I remember Chris sent me that freaking video of all the 66 kicking off.
Yeah, it was
4 videos at once.
Yeah, no, it was off on someone's TikTok where it showed
Like,
Fallen Order, Episode 3, Bad Batch, and Clone Wars, where it was Order
like all the
66
moments of Order 66 kicking off.
Yep. I was like, wow, that's a lot of stuff to put in my brain.
Yeah. I mean, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are fans, and they are good storytellers, and having the two of them in charge of Star Wars now.
Here's the worst part, and I think I already know what you're going to say about this one. J.J. Abrams is a huge Star Wars fan, too.
Yes.
Now, granted, like I said, I'm not blaming him for the way the current trilogy turned out because
The sequel trilogy was Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, because like what I pointed out to one of my managers who turns out to be a huge Star Wars fan, I told her, I said the new trilogy had a great start. It's just that as the sequels were coming out for it, they were just getting worse.
Oh my god. So I'm looking through all the Star Wars things. I'm like, why? Like, why do you need a Barbie doll version of Star Wars? I'm sorry. I'm confused.
I mean, they kind of have the same thing for DC with their
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, it was a good episode. You know, it touched on some dark themes. You know, as these conscript soldiers who were just sort of like, "Hey, I'm gonna get fed and paid and get a roof over my head," and all that. And then it's just sort of like, "Hey, yeah. By the way, all that stuff comes with a cost." And that cost is your soul, because you've got to basically murder these innocent people.
Yeah.
It's like, are we the baddies? Yes, you are. It was a good episode. Now it's just, you know, we're still somewhat in some like uncharted territory. It's like, yeah, we know where things are eventually going to go with the Empire, but we don't know where things are going to go with the Bad Batch.
You know what? I just thought of something, and everybody who in the comments section, I want you to vote on this one.
Yeah, please actually do something in the comments section, whether that's on CKCC Radio or on YouTube.
Okay.
No, it's Jay's boy. He wants to read all your comments.
Okay.
Try to do.
Okay, so as part of the Mandocast,
Yes.
should we do Jay, wait until I'm done. Should we do the Family Guy Star Wars episodes? Because Jay has never seen them. No. I want the people to vote for this. Yes or
But
no?
I mean, are we talking like what kind of are we doing? Because I remember there'd be like 3 things.
There was only 3.
So are we talking about we're going to watch one and do a binge for it, or we're going to do all 3?
No. Do one. Do a binge, like what we've been doing with the shows, one at a time. I have Blue Harvest on my Voodoo account. At least I think I have it on there.
Yeah, the reason why he asked me to wait until he was finished is because he knows I am not a big fan of Family Guy. I have tried, but it just doesn't do anything for me.
And I'm at the point where Family Guy just beat me to a pulp. So
Well,
I get called Peter Griffin at work constantly.
Show up to work wearing green pants and a white shirt and see what happens.
No, there's already a real life Peter Griffin. We don't need 2.
Yes, and he's already fought a giant chicken.
Yes.
And he's on Cameo.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody in the comment section, vote. Should we do that or should we not do that as part of Mandocast? Because honestly, he did get George Lucas to help.
You mean it's okay? You're safe, Jay, because we're pretty sure that no one's going to vote.
This is true. We have to.
We would sit there and watch every comment section and be like, no.
No, just for this
I think like over the entire run of the Bingecast now for a year with
God,
like
a year.
Yeah, and everything. We have gotten precisely like one comment, and it was just somebody commenting that, oh, BTD, which is, how I abbreviated on YouTube, stands for bored to death. Okay. Or something like that. I'm just like,
I've seen
that's it. That's the only one.
Don't remind me. We even did that one where it was like, hey,
yeah, it's like, we
want
to hear from
feedback.
you. And we have gotten nothing. But hey,
it's not about, and this is going to make someone mad, I will apologize. It's not about the fans. It's about how much fun we want to do.
Exactly.
And we have fun.
We still have
day.
fun. We still have fun doing this.
And we want the fans. We love the fans. What fans? We have like 16 of them.
We're not trying to meet the YouTube metrics to, draw in viewers.
If we do,
or listeners.
If we do, we're going to get copyright constantly.
How? How so?
So you mentioned the word Star Wars. Copyright!
Nope, that's not how it goes.
I have no idea how it goes.
It's more to do with like copyright music and stuff like that.
I do remember there being something where the machine actually, if you said one word, I don't remember which word it was, it smacked you with copyright. I remember a lot of YouTubers complained about it at one point in time.
Oh, God.
It was probably just the algorithm was being a little bit too strict that day or whatever. At any rate, it was a good episode. We'll end... I still don't really know where things are going to go from here.
That's half the fun.
We know that the Bad Batch are working on this scanner to try to figure out what's going on with their chips. Hunter clearly wants to be able to go back and try to rescue Crosshair. And the Kaminoans are plotting a little bit, but we still don't really know what it's hoping to accomplish. But yeah, it'll... uncharted territory. We don't really know where things are going to go, and that's part of the fun. Anything else either of you would like to add?
Well, got nothing.
Or you think, nope, just all the
No, I pretty much said everything that I wanted to say about this one.
Same. Oh, one thing, I mentioned this while we were watching, didn't mention it here. I read a thing that among the refugees that we saw back in the first episode, they weren't there when they came back to it in this episode, but a couple of the refugees in that camp were Galen and Jyn Erso from Rogue One.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because we know that Galen Erso and his wife knew Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of Rogue One, when Krennic shows up, they quickly send word to Saw Gerrera, that they've been found. So we know that they know each other. But, hey, we don't really... they evidently got off of Onderon between the first episode and the third episode of The Bad Batch. Good for them. But we don't know, and they managed to escape the Empire for now. But I suspect Galen Erso is going to end up in their custody sooner rather than later, because we saw in some of the flashback sequences from like Jin's memories that they were on, it looked like Coruscant. And her father was just sort of chatting somewhat cheerfully with Krennic.
Back when they probably got along.
Yeah. But we don't exactly have a time frame on when that was. But at any rate, that is going to wrap up this episode of the Mandocast. So for Zeke and Chris, I am Jay, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to a Bored to Death Mandocast. Be sure to check out all the Star Wars content on Disney Plus and give us a like and subscribe. This is the way.